The holographic display flickered red across every surface of the Calvortex Military Academy. Students from 18 different species froze in the corridors, their various appendages, tentacles, and manipulators going rigid. The announcement echoed through translation implants directly into neural pathways. Maximum threat assessment. Arena deployment required. Participant selected. Maya Torres kept walking, her worn backpack bouncing against her shoulders. She had exactly 40 minutes before her xenobiology exam, and Professor Zeltharn had already warned her about tardiness. The crimson light washing over the metallic walls barely registered as she pulled out her datapad, reviewing cellular structures of Borathian immune systems. A 3-meter-tall Kragnoth warrior stepped directly into her path, his forearms crossed over his armored chest. His name was Vekrin, and he served as the Academy's combat coordinator. "You are the selected participant. Human." Maya looked up, blinking. She glanced at the swirling red holograms, then back at her notes. "Right now? I have an exam in less than an hour. Can we reschedule?" Vekrin's facial plates shifted, the Kragnoth equivalent of stunned disbelief. Around them, other students had begun gathering, forming a loose circle. Maya recognized several from her tactical analysis class. "This is not a request, Torres. The Arena Protocol has identified a Category 7 threat entity in Sector 9. You have been randomly selected for mandatory combat deployment. This is the highest honor in Academy history." Maya sighed, tucking the datapad under her arm. She did some quick mental calculation. Category 7. That's the thing with 12 limbs and the acid secretion glands, right? The one from the Hellforge Nebula? Correct. The Velkrish Ravager. It has destroyed 3 military outposts in the past cycle. We lost 47 soldiers attempting containment. The Academy Board has decided to use this incident as a live training assessment. A Sulthinian student nearby, her crystalline body refracting the emergency lighting, spoke in a trembling harmonic frequency. "They are sending a first-year human against a Ravager. This is execution, not assessment." Maya glanced at the crowd. She caught sight of her friend Chen, another human transfer student, pushing through the gathering. He looked panicked. Vekrin continued, his voice resonating with official protocol. "You have 1 standard hour to prepare. The arena will be sanitized and sealed. All faculty and students will observe from the shielded galleries. May your ancestors guide your claws." Maya adjusted her backpack straps. "Can I bring my study materials? Because honestly, I'm going to fail xenobiology if I don't review this stuff." The combat coordinator's facial plates locked in what might have been incomprehension. Chen finally reached her side, grabbing her elbow. "Maya, what the hell? They're talking about the thing that melted through a dreadnought hull. You can't just act like this is a pop quiz." She gave him a tired smile. "I'm not acting like anything. I genuinely have an exam, and I genuinely need to study. If they're going to throw me in an arena with a nightmare creature, they can at least let me make productive use of my time." Vekrin made a gesture that translated roughly as exasperation. "You will report to the preparation chamber immediately. You may bring whatever materials you deem necessary, though I assure you academic notes will not save you from what awaits in that arena." Maya turned and started walking. Over her shoulder she called back. "You'd be surprised what information can do, Coordinator. See you in an hour." The preparation chamber was sterile and cold, designed for warriors to meditate, pray, or engage in pre-combat rituals. Maya dumped her backpack on the central platform and pulled out 3 datapads, a thermos of coffee and a half-eaten protein bar. She sat cross-legged and resumed studying. The door hissed open 20 minutes later. A medical officer entered, a spindly Tralvexian with 6 optical sensors arrayed around her elongated head. "I am required to perform a pre-combat physical assessment." Maya held out her arm without looking up from her notes, still muttering about enzyme structures. The medical officer ran a scanner over her, mandibles clicking softly. "Your cardiac rhythm is remarkably stable. Most participants at this stage show extreme stress markers. Your species is either exceptionally brave or exceptionally foolish." Maya finished highlighting a passage before responding. "We're good at compartmentalizing. Also, panicking doesn't change the outcome, so why waste the energy?" The medical officer's sensors focused with sudden intensity. "You understand, you are likely going to die in that arena, correct? The Velkrish Ravager has a 97% fatality rate. It is functionally immortal, regenerates from cellular damage, and secretes toxins that dissolve organic matter on contact." Maya took a sip of coffee, grimacing slightly at the lukewarm temperature. "I read the briefing. 12 limbs, 3 brain clusters, exoskeleton resistant to energy weapons. Evolved on a planet with sulfuric oceans and constant volcanic activity. Yeah, it sounds unpleasant. Unpleasant? Child. This creature is death incarnated. Maya looked up, meeting multiple optical sensors with calm brown eyes. Everything dies. Doctor, it's just biology. Complex biology, sure, but still biology. You kill the biology, you kill the organism. The medical officer recoiled slightly. I have seen warriors twice your size weep before entering that arena. Your species truly is deranged. Maya returned to her notes. We just have different priorities. Right now, mine is passing xenobiology. Everything else is just inconvenient timing. The observation galleries were packed beyond capacity. Faculty members occupied the premium viewing platforms while students pressed against transparent aluminum barriers, their various sensory organs fixed on the massive arena floor below. Holographic displays showed technical readouts, creature statistics, and betting odds. Velkrish stood beside the Academy Commandant, an ancient Vorthelian whose scales had dulled to deep bronze with age. The Commandant's voice rumbled like continental plates grinding. This is madness, Coordinator. The human female is untrained in arena combat. She has not even completed basic weapons certification. Velkrish's forearms gestured helplessly. The selection was random, as protocol demands. The human drew the marker. She is required to participate. This is a death sentence delivered by chance. The student body will witness a slaughter. It will traumatize the younger classes. The Commandant's scales rippled with agitation. On the floor below, blast doors began groaning open. From the eastern entrance, Maya emerged, still carrying her backpack. She walked to the center of the arena with the casual stride of someone heading to class. She wore standard academy utilities, no armor, no visible weapons. Students in the galleries began murmuring, their various forms of speech creating a discordant symphony of confusion. From the western entrance, the Velkrish Ravager entered. It moved like liquid nightmare given form. 12 segmented limbs carried a body the size of a hover transport, covered in overlapping chitinous plates that glistened with acidic secretions. 3 distinct head structures emerged from the central mass, each housing clusters of sensory organs that swiveled independently. Its mouthparts clicked and ground, capable of shearing through starship bulkheads. Maya set her backpack down carefully, pulled out a datapad, and sat down cross-legged in the middle of the arena. She started reading. The galleries erupted in chaos. Students shouted in a dozen languages. Faculty members rushed to communication panels. Velkrish's mandibles locked in a rictus of shock. What is she doing? Is this a human death ritual? The Commandant leaned forward, all 4 of his eyes focused on the small figure sitting calmly as the Ravager approached. I do not know, but I have learned that when humans act with such confidence, it is wise to observe rather than assume. The Ravager moved closer, its limbs making wet scraping sounds against the arena floor. Toxic drool hissed and steamed where it landed. Maya turned a page on her datapad. The creature paused, 5 meters away, its head structures tilting in what might have been confusion. Then it charged. The galleries screamed. Velkrish moved to activate emergency containment protocols. The Commandant grabbed his arm, preventing interference. Wait. Maya stood in one fluid motion, datapad still in hand. She sidestepped the first strike with minimal movement, her body flowing like water around the descending limb. The Ravager's claw struck stone, cracking the reinforced surface. Its second and third limbs lashed out in coordinated attack patterns that had killed veteran soldiers. Maya ducked, pivoted, and slid between strikes with the precision of someone who had done this before. Not in arenas, not in training, somewhere else, somewhere worse. She wasn't fighting, she was analyzing. Her eyes tracked each limb, each movement pattern, each biological function with clinical detachment. The Ravager's attacks grew more frenzied, more aggressive. Maya continued her observation, occasionally making small notes on her datapad between dodges. This is impossible, a Trelixian professor whispered. She has no combat training. How is she predicting its movements? Chen pushed forward in the student section, his face split between terror and amazement. She's been on Earth. We all have. You think this thing is scary? We evolved with predators that made this look friendly. We learned to read movement patterns before we learned to speak. It's not training, it's instinct carved into our DNA by millions of years of being prey that became predators. The Ravager reared back, all 12 limbs drawing together for a coordinated strike meant to liquefy its target. Maya finally moved with purpose. She dropped the datapad, reached into her backpack, and pulled out a small cylindrical object. Vekrin recognized it immediately. Is that a standard Academy emergency flare? Maya triggered the device and threw it directly into the Ravager's central mouth structure. The creature reflexively swallowed, its biological programming demanding it consume anything that entered its feeding orifice. For 3 seconds, nothing happened. Then the Ravager's body began convulsing, its limbs thrashed wildly, smashing into arena walls with enough force to crack reinforced barriers. Acidic secretions sprayed in every direction as its 3 brain clusters tried desperately to coordinate a response to the chemical reaction occurring inside its digestive system. Maya calmly retrieved her datapad and walked back toward her backpack, sipping coffee from her thermos. Behind her, the Ravager's exoskeleton started fragmenting. The flare contained magnesium and phosphorus compounds, burning at temperatures exceeding 3,000 degrees. The creature's internal regeneration systems couldn't keep pace with cellular destruction at that scale. It collapsed, limbs twitching, biological functions shutting down one system at a time. Maya sat back down, resumed reading about Barathian immune responses, and took another sip of coffee. The galleries were silent, absolutely, completely silent. Finally, Chen started clapping. Slowly, others joined. Within moments, the observation platforms erupted in a cacophony of species-specific approval responses. Roars, trills, harmonic resonances, and percussive limb strikes created a symphony of disbelief and celebration. Vekrin's facial plates had locked in an expression that might remain frozen for days. She killed a Category 7 threat with an emergency flare and academic coffee. The Commandant's scales shimmered with what translated roughly as laughter. Correction. Coordinator. She killed it with knowledge. She analyzed its biology, identified the weakness in its regeneration system, and exploited it with available resources. This is not combat. This is applied xenobiology. Maya finished her notes, packed everything carefully into her backpack, and stood. She walked toward the exit, waving vaguely at the galleries. As she passed under Vekrin's observation platform, she called up, "I still need to take that exam. Coordinator, can someone let Professor Zeltharn know I'll be 5 minutes late? Thanks." She disappeared through the blast doors, leaving behind a dead Category 7 threat and several thousand stunned witnesses. Chen found her in the corridor outside the examination hall, still reviewing notes. He grabbed her shoulders, forcing her to look at him. "Maya, what the actual hell was that? You just killed the thing that destroyed 3 military outposts like you were taking out the trash." She shrugged, adjusting her backpack. "It was just biology, Chen. Everything has a weakness. The Ravager's regeneration system requires massive caloric intake. Magnesium burns hot enough to destroy cellular structures faster than they can regenerate. Basic cause and effect. You studied the creature while it was trying to kill you." She gave him a tired smile. "I had 40 minutes and access to the Academy database. The flare was just standard emergency equipment. The rest was just reading comprehension and practical application." Chen shook his head slowly. "Everyone thinks humans are crazy. They're wrong. We're not crazy. We're terrifying. There's a difference." Maya checked her chronometer. "I need to get in there. Zeltharn doesn't accept late submissions, and I did not just kill a Category 7 threat to fail xenobiology." She entered the examination hall, leaving Chen staring after her. Down the corridor, he could hear Professor Zeltharn's voice, sharp and irritated. "Torres, you are 4 minutes late. That is unacceptable." Maya's response drifted back, calm and unbothered. "Apologies, Professor. I had to deal with a Velkrish Ravager. It took longer than expected." A pause, then Zeltharn's voice, considerably less certain. "You are joking. Check the arena recordings, Professor. Now about question 7 regarding enzyme structures." Chen walked away, already composing the message he would send to the human embassy. They needed to know that their exchange student program had just fundamentally altered how the galaxy viewed humanity. One textbook and one emergency flare at a time. The examination hall emptied slowly, students filing out with the exhausted shuffle of those who had just spent 3 hours proving their knowledge. Maya emerged last, shoving her datapad into her backpack. She looked drained but satisfied. Chen waited by the entrance with 2 other humans from their program, Sarah Kim and Marcus Webb. All 3 stared at Maya with expressions somewhere between awe and concern. Sarah spoke first, her voice carefully controlled. The entire Academy network crashed from traffic. Everyone was trying to watch the arena footage simultaneously. "You broke the servers." Maya rubbed her eyes. "Did I pass the exam at least? Because that Ravager thing really cut into my study time." Marcus laughed, the sound slightly manic. Torres, you're trending on 17 different galactic news platforms. Someone titled the most popular clip human casually kills apex predator while doing homework. You have become an interstellar meme. Maya groaned. Perfect. My parents are going to see that. My mom is going to call and ask why I didn't wear proper protective equipment. Chen pulled up his datapad, scrolling through cascading messages. The embassy sent an official statement. The Cal Vortex Academy board is requesting a formal meeting. 6 different military organizations have submitted recruitment offers. And oh, this is interesting, there's a betting syndicate claiming you cost them 4 million credits because nobody wagered on the human surviving. Sarah grabbed Maya's arm, her expression serious. You need to understand what you just did. That Ravager had military commanders scared, actual experienced warriors refused to engage it. You walked in with coffee and homework and made it look trivial. Maya started walking toward the dormitory sector, her friends falling into step beside her. It wasn't trivial, it was biology. Every organism has vulnerabilities. You just need to identify them, calibrated word count precision while structuring narrative momentum strategically. I'm at about 2,500 words for part 1. Let me count to make sure. Actually, I need to be more careful. Let me continue writing part 2 and make sure I hit exactly 2,500 words for this section as well. I need to continue the story with twists and emotional depth while hitting the word count precisely. Marcus shook his head. Most species see a Category 7 threat and think run or fight with maximum force. You saw a biology problem with a flammable solution. They turned a corner and nearly collided with Velkrish. The massive Kragnoth coordinator stood beside 2 figures Maya didn't recognize. One was a human woman in her 50s, wearing formal diplomatic attire. The other was something that looked like animated shadow given vaguely humanoid form. Torres. This is Ambassador Patricia Vance from the Human Diplomatic Corps, and this is Investigator Shalreth from the Galactic Security Council. The shadow entity spoke, its voice like wind through a graveyard. We need to discuss your background, Miss Torres, specifically the parts you omitted from your academy application. Maya's casual demeanor evaporated. Her friends noticed the change immediately, the subtle shift in posture, the way her eyes went flat and calculating. Ambassador Vance stepped forward, her expression carefully neutral. Maya, the council has questions about your homeworld residence before the exchange program. There are gaps in your records, periods of time that don't align with standard civilian documentation. Maya's voice came out cold, stripped of the casual warmth her friends knew. I was accepted into this academy based on my academic qualifications. My past is irrelevant. Investigator Shalreth's form rippled. Your past became relevant when you demonstrated combat analysis capabilities that exceed most military specialists. The way you moved in that arena was not instinctive. It was trained, extensively trained. Chen, Sarah, and Marcus exchanged confused glances. Maya's jaw tightened. I want legal representation before this conversation continues. Ambassador Vance sighed. Maya, we're not accusing you of anything. We need to understand. The Council is concerned that Earth might be running covert operations through the exchange program. Maya laughed, but there was no humor in it. You think I'm a spy? That's your theory? I'm 18 years old and trying to pass xenobiology. Then explain how a first-year student with no military training killed a Velkrish Ravager with the efficiency of a special operations veteran. The corridor had gone very quiet. Other students had stopped, listening despite the privacy protocols that should have been in place. Maya looked at Ambassador Vance, then at the shadow investigator, then at her friends. Something painful flickered across her face. Fine. You want the truth? I'll give you the truth, but not here. Velkrish led them to a secured conference room. Maya sat at the head of the table, her backpack on the floor beside her. The others arranged themselves around her, waiting. She spoke slowly, each word carefully measured. My name is Maya Torres. I'm from Seattle, North American sector. Before I applied to this academy, I spent 4 years in a place called the Cascadia Wilderness Survival Program. It's a rehabilitation facility for at-risk youth. Translation for those who don't speak bureaucratic nonsense, it's where they send kids who've been through things that broke them. Sarah reached across the table, but Maya pulled back. I was 14 when I entered the program. Before that, I lived with my aunt in the border zones. Do you know what happens in border zones on Earth? No, of course you don't. Because Earth doesn't advertise its problems to the galactic community. Ambassador Vance closed her eyes briefly. Maya, you don't have to. Yes, I do. Because apparently my survival skills are now a security concern. She looked at Investigator Shalreth directly. The border zones are where climate refugees, economic collapse survivors, and failed state populations collide. It's where human civilization shows its cracks. I lived there for 3 years. I learned to fight because not fighting meant worse things. I learned to analyze threats because hesitation got you killed. I learned biology because understanding what could hurt you was the difference between seeing another sunrise and becoming a statistic. Chen's face had gone pale. Marcus looked sick. Sarah was crying silently. My aunt died when I was 13. Illness, malnutrition, take your pick. I survived another year on my own before social services found me. They put me in the wilderness program because I was, and I quote from my case file, dangerously competent and emotionally unavailable. 4 years of therapy, education, and relearning how to be human instead of a survival machine. She pulled a data chip from her pocket and slid it across the table. That's my complete psychological profile. Medical records and program graduation documentation. I applied to the academy because I wanted to leave Earth. I wanted to prove that I could be more than what circumstances made me. I wanted to study xenobiology because understanding life, all life, felt like the opposite of everything I survived. The room was silent except for Sarah's quiet sobbing. Investigator Shalreth extended a shadowy appendage and absorbed the data chip. You viewed the Ravager as a threat assessment scenario because you have been assessing threats for survival since childhood. Maya's voice was hollow. I viewed it as biology because that's what it was. But yes, when it attacked, I fell back on old patterns. I analyzed, identified weaknesses, exploited them. It's what I learned to do when I was a kid fighting for scraps in a collapsed economy zone. It's what kept me alive. Ambassador Vance spoke softly. Why didn't you disclose this in your application? The Academy has support systems for students from difficult backgrounds, because I didn't want to be the trauma case from Earth. I wanted to be Maya Torres, promising xenobiology student. I wanted to leave the survival machine behind and become something better. Vekrin's forearms crossed, his facial plates reflecting something that might have been respected. You succeeded, Torres. Your academic record is exceptional. Your instructors praise your analytical thinking and dedication. You are exactly what you wanted to become. Except now everyone knows. Now I'm not Maya Torres, student. I'm Maya Torres, the human who killed a Category 7 threat with a flare and homework. I'm back to being a weapon instead of a person. Chen finally found his voice. Maya, no, you're not a weapon. You're our friend who happens to be terrifyingly capable when necessary. That doesn't erase who you've become. Sarah wiped her eyes. You've helped me with calculus for months. You made Marcus laugh when his grandmother died. You're brilliant and kind, and exactly who you wanted to be. The arena thing, that was just you protecting yourself with skills you wish you didn't have. Maya's composure cracked. Tears spilled down her cheeks, her breath hitching. I didn't want anyone to know. I worked so hard to be normal. Ambassador Vance moved around the table and wrapped Maya in a maternal embrace. Sweetheart, you are normal. You're a survivor who built something beautiful from terrible circumstances. That's not a flaw. That's a testament to human resilience. Investigator Shalreth's form solidified slightly. Miss Torres, the Galactic Security Council has no concerns about your presence at this academy. Your survival history explains your capabilities without suggesting any covert operations. However, I must inform you that your arena performance has attracted attention from less benevolent parties. Maya pulled back from the ambassador, wiping her face. What kind of attention? The kind that sees weapons instead of people. Several mercenary organizations, 3 criminal syndicates, and at least 1 rogue military faction have expressed interest in acquiring humans with your skill set. Earth's exchange program may face complications. Chen stood abruptly. You're saying Maya is in danger because she defended herself, not just Maya. All humans in exchange programs may become targets. Your species has revealed capabilities that others wish to exploit. Ambassador Vance's expression hardened. The diplomatic corps will implement additional security protocols. Maya, you'll have protection assigned. Maya shook her head. No, I came here to study, not to hide behind bodyguards. If people want to target humans, let them try. We're harder to break than we look. Vekrin's mandibles clicked in what translated to dark amusement. Indeed, I suspect anyone attempting to harm humans at this academy will discover that lesson painfully. Marcus grinned despite the tension. Besides, Maya just proved that underestimating humans is bad for your health. Word spreads fast in the galaxy. Investigator Shalreth flickered. Perhaps that is precisely the message the galaxy needs to hear. Humanity is not weak. Humanity is adaptable, analytical, and when necessary, absolutely lethal. Maya stood, shouldering her backpack. I just want to pass my classes and maybe sleep for 12 hours. Can we make that happen? Ambassador Vance smiled. I'll handle the political complications. You focus on being a student. That's what you came here to do. The meeting dispersed slowly. Maya's friends flanked her as they walked back to the dormitory. Chen kept glancing at her, seeing his friend differently, but no less fondly. For what it's worth, I think you're incredibly brave. Not for the arena thing, for choosing to be vulnerable enough to pursue education after everything you survived. Sarah nodded. You could have stayed hard and closed off. Instead, you chose growth. That takes more courage than fighting monsters. Maya managed a small smile. Thanks, both of you. I'm sorry I didn't tell you before. Marcus bumped her shoulder gently. You'll tell us when you're ready. That's how friendship works. They reached the dormitory common area and found it packed with students from multiple species. A hush fell as Maya entered. Then, slowly, students began approaching. A Trelexian bowed respectfully. A Borathian offered a formal gesture of acknowledgement. Chen's roommate, a Calvexian named Threx, approached with his species equivalent of a smile. Torres, you have earned respect across all class years. Your victory was impressive, but your composure was extraordinary. Would you consider leading a study group on xenobiology applications? Maya blinked, surprised. You want me to teach? We want to learn from someone who sees connections others miss. Your analysis of the Ravager's biological vulnerabilities was brilliant. Other students murmured agreement. Maya looked at her friends, then back at the gathered crowd. Okay, but only if we focus on academic applications, not combat. I'm not training anyone to fight. I'm here to study life, not destroy it. Threx's auditory appendages vibrated with approval. Agreed. We wish to understand the analytical methodology, how you assess biological systems and identify critical factors. Maya felt something shift inside her. The weight of revelation, of exposure began transforming into something else. Purpose, perhaps. Or belonging. Twice a week, after evening meal period. Bring questions and genuine curiosity, no glorifying what happened in the arena. The gathered students dispersed, chattering excitedly. Chen leaned close. You just became the most popular study group leader in Academy history. Sarah laughed. Next semester you'll be teaching Professor Zeltharn's class at this rate. Maya rolled her eyes but couldn't suppress a genuine smile. Let's survive this semester first. I still have 3 more exams and a research paper on Calvexian neural structures. They climbed the stairs to their residential floor. At Maya's door, her friends paused. Marcus spoke carefully. Are you okay? Really okay? Maya considered the question honestly. I will be. Today was hard, exposing parts of myself I wanted to keep buried. But maybe Chen was right earlier. Maybe humans aren't crazy. Maybe we're just survivors who learn to adapt. Sarah hugged her tightly. You're more than a survivor, Maya. You're our friend, our study partner, and apparently our resident monster slayer. We're lucky to have you. After they left, Maya entered her small quarters. She dropped her backpack, collapsed onto her bunk, and stared at the ceiling. Her datapad chimed with incoming messages. Hundreds of them. News requests, interview offers, military recruitment pitches. She deleted them all except one. A message from Professor Zeltharn. Torres, you passed your exam with the highest score this semester. Your analysis of Borthean immune responses was particularly insightful. Well done. Also, for future reference, Category 7 threats are not acceptable excuses for tardiness. Regards, Professor Zeltharn. Maya laughed, the sound echoing in her quiet room. She composed a reply. Noted, Professor. I'll schedule any future apocalyptic creature encounters outside of exam periods. Respectfully, Maya Torres. She set the datapad aside and closed her eyes. Tomorrow there would be complications, political maneuvering, security concerns, and the galaxy's renewed interest in humanity's capabilities. But tonight she was simply Maya Torres, exhausted student who had passed her xenobiology exam. Everything else could wait. Outside her window, the Academy's artificial moon rose over alien architecture. Somewhere in the medical wing, Vekrin was filing reports that would reshape how the Galactic Security Council viewed Earth's exchange students. In diplomatic channels, Ambassador Vance was negotiating protections and protocols. Across 17 star systems, news feeds were broadcasting footage of a human teenager defeating death incarnate with academic supplies. But in this moment, Maya simply slept. Dreamless, peaceful sleep earned through survival, courage, and the stubborn human refusal to be defined by trauma. The arena had announced maximum threat. She had walked in with homework, and in doing so she had reminded the galaxy of something they were only beginning to understand. Humanity was not just another species joining the galactic community. Humanity was Earth's children, forged by a world that killed casually and demanded constant adaptation. They brought with them not just curiosity and hope, but the bone-deep knowledge that survival required intelligence, courage, and the willingness to face nightmares with nothing but determination and whatever tools were available. The galaxy would learn this lesson many times over in the coming years. But it started here, in an academy arena, with one student who refused to let monsters, trauma, or galactic politics prevent her from pursuing the simple goal of understanding life itself. Maya Torres slept, and the universe took notice.